What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K. Back again with another episode of Prognosis TV's Lyrics to Go. It's a very interesting day. We're going to talk about Xbox Series X and its launch and my thoughts on it. But before we get too deep into all that, I just want to say a special thank you to you, the listener, for your support listening to this and your patronage, because without you, we cannot make this possible. And for those of you that are new, if you don't know what this is me on my morning brisks to get my coffee, get my tea, whatever I want to opine in. Whatever I'm going to opine in, and I enjoy it, getting it while I'm talking to you about the latest and greatest in gaming news. Okay, so today's subject is the Xbox Series X, but I must say, I'm having the worst time trying to record this because this is actually my fourth attempt. This is my fourth attempt. I'm recording this on my phone via a program called Vlogit, and if I get a phone call, or if, the Pixel integration with YouTube, especially YouTube Premium, sucks, because since I've signed up for it, YouTube just randomly starts on my phone. And that's not the only thing that sucks about the Pixel 3 XL. So hopefully the Pixel 4s operate better. But I'm going to be honest with you, the Pixel 3s, I'm not a fan of them. The worst integration with the Google products, that is. And people may say, well, MM2K, I thought you shield for Google. No, I like Stadia. I know why I like Stadia. I know the things I want them to improve on. I know that there's others like me out there. So I'm just a mouthpiece for that. I'm not a shield for nobody. And I just got introduced to Google products through the advent of Stadia. The Google TV, which I do love that. I love that. That's awesome. But I'm telling you, now I know the 4s are out, the Pixel 4s, and maybe the 5s are out too. But the 3s, oh my dear Lord, I had the 3A, now I got the 3XL. What did that horse on Ren and Stimpy used to say? Don't like it. Nope, don't like it. Anyway, all right, so let's continue on. We're going to talk about the Xbox Series X, its launch, my thoughts, and what it could mean for the rest of the generation, or at least early on. Okay, so the Xbox Series X launched yesterday. I didn't get one. I personally just don't feel it was worth picking up another box for another $500 after I just done it 2 years ago with the Xbox One X. For them to only cancel that really came with no specific hardware that quote-unquote made the box sing. Meaning, look, we want the Power Crown back. We want to show you why we deserve the Power Crown, opposed to just giving me better performing third parties. That's not what I asked for. I wanted you to really blow my mind, melt my face with, next gen experiences. I mean, I wouldn't buy 4K TVs, all types of stuff, getting ready for that mid-gen refresh, only for it to fizzle and your competitor, PlayStation, to drop God of War on a $200 box and have it look better than anything on your $500 world's most powerful console. And it looks like we're at the advent of that again, where for $500 you want me to pay for 12 teraflops, where I can pay for 9.5 or whatever it is for $400. And you talk about the world's most powerful console again, but then the best looking game at launch sounds to be something that's on the quote-unquote weaker console, which is Demon's Souls Remake. I mean, it just goes to show that what a lot of people have been saying out there in these gaming streets, talent talent cannot be replaced by hardware alone. You got to have talent and the tools. The hardware itself, you're not going to horsepower your way into great games. You got to have the talent. And Xbox, I don't think that it's that they don't have the talent. They just don't have an eye for the talent. That's the problem. They don't have an eye for the talent or how to mold the talent the way PlayStation does, And hence, they don't have an eye for the talent. Reason why they're dropping another $500 box with nothing that really makes the box sing. And you have the CEO of the company telling consumers, I didn't really need to give you anything top of the line because we knew our units were going to sell anyway. To me, that's absurd. I've never heard that before in my life. So, that's another reason why I'm not quick to pay another $500 for something that I've already got bamboozled on just a couple years ago. Nonetheless, that's my personal opinions. Doesn't apply to everybody. And people were delighted to get their Xbox Series X's, nonetheless, despite my personal feelings. Now, what did I observe? I observed, you know, as far as the pros were, people did like the game swap feature. I forgot what it's called. It left my mind already. I was just talking about it my 4 other iterations. That's probably why it purged my mind, because I got tired of talking about it. Game swap or something like that, where you can instantaneously change games. They say that that's cool. They like that feature. And then also, what I have to say is that Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 60 frames per second there. Whoa! Yeah, that looks good on the Series X. So those are the pros. The pros. Those are the pros. Those are the pros. Looks good. Now, Valhalla does. I did see a little bit of NBA 2K21. Does look good. Looks good, definitely. Looks nice and sharp. The player models and stuff, they look more lifelike, definitely. And quick resume, that's what it's called, quick resume. Quick resume, a lot of people are fancying that, and so forth. Here is the cons, though. The cons, the way I see it is, let's talk about the loading. A lot of people did not have favorable experience with the system because of the loading. Because the loading required you to, well, connecting to the internet altogether was a requirement in order for you to even start the system. Like, in order for you to even initialize your console, you had to be connected to the internet. So that has grumblings of 2013 all over again. In order for you to initialize it, you got to go online. Now, I don't know if the PlayStation 5 is going to require the same, but that's very, very alarming that was the case, but nobody was told. Because what if I was buying the console and I don't have the greatest internet? And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take a half a day from work and just, try some Xbox for a little bit and go to work. Here I would have wasted a half a day, because I know people that bought the box, picked up their box like, 12 noon in the afternoon, and around 7 and 8, they still were initializing the console or downloading games. 7 hours later, 8 hours later. You know what I mean? So, there was that. Then, a lot of people didn't get their consoles. A lot of Series X diehards didn't realize they weren't getting a console until 2, 1, even the day of the release. They're getting emails from Target, Amazon, whatever, told them, oop, you're SOL. You're not getting a console till December 12th, or whatever the case may be, 2 weeks from now, and some more favorable cases, but you're not getting a console at launch. That's a lot to tell somebody that dropped $500, or at least reserving $500 during COVID, during the holiday season for something. Now, they got some tough decisions to make. They were actually paying for the convenience, or not the convenience, yeah, they were paying for the ability to play on launch day. They wanted to be part of that fervor, so they didn't get that. And why didn't they get that? Because by all intents and purposes, the Xbox pre-order launch was a fiasco. Now, I'm not saying that the PlayStation 5 was smooth. Yes, the PlayStation 5 caused a lot of hysteria when they went live. Because what happened was, in order to suck one up, you literally had to go into your GameStop or go to your store and suck up a pre-order physically. You know what I mean? And I could have presented a challenge to a lot of people during COVID. But it seems like that even though, by all intents and purposes, the PlayStation 5 is a lot more in demand than the Xbox Series X. I mean, they're both going to sell, a lot. But PlayStation 5, at least at launch, looks like it's in more demand, in gangbusters. So you're going to have a lot more. You had a lot more of those of shipments of those that they've had to monitor, right? So, with that being said, being that they had a lot more of those that they had to manage, I find it very interesting that on the back end of the launch, it appears that their launch consoles are confirmed. It's a lot more smooth than it was for the Xbox Series X. So, again, all those people that were laughing, about PlayStation 5, again, before you go on the warpath for words, you gotta understand, look at everything from 5,000 feet. And the biggest thing too, and another big, well, not the biggest thing, but a big thing too, that I tried to warn my Xbox Series X people about, is that Wi-Fi 6 is a big deal. It is a big deal. Not having it at launch is going to be a problem. It's not going to be as big of a problem as it is at launch than it is later, but not having it at launch is going to be a problem, because earlier on, while this extra storage is low, is costly, people are going to be doing a lot of deleting off the SSDs and re-downloading. Okay? They're going to be doing a lot of that, especially my Series S people. And not having Wi-Fi 6, the faster internet speeds is going to play a part. So, there you go. It's going to be a problem. My question is to you guys with Series S's. Are you willing, or are you ready to trade yours in a year or two when it becomes obsolete, even as a streaming box, unless you have a wired network? If you have an optimized wired network, they say the most optimal is 6 feet. But, I've gone over. I got a 25-foot cord running from my bedroom, where my router is, to my living room. And everything is wired. But I do notice that in some occasions that when it's wired 6 feet, as they say, it works so much better. But the question is, are you people that don't have optimized networks like that, where you can wire it, even when it is a streaming box? Are you guys ready to trade that in? Because I don't know how useful it's going to be with the lack of Wi-Fi 6 if you got to stream it. Don't know. Something you got to look up. That's why I had cautioned to a lot of people, be ready. Be ready. So, all in all, my thoughts is that the graphical prowess of it is definitely there. You can see it. I think the big question is that graphical prowess, even at launch, is that prowess that different from what you can get on the PlayStation 5? Like Assassin's Creed, I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be the ultimate test. I mean, supposedly it has all this shader, this, and VSS this, and all this other stuff. Some things that the PlayStation 5 version does not have, right? So, if I look at the Series X version and I look at the PlayStation 5 version, do I see an incredible difference? If the answer is no, then I think you have your answer on which console, even over time, is going to have the most saturation. I think if there is an incredible difference, then yes, the Xbox can survive well enough. It may not, it might not beat the PlayStation 5, but it can stay close. And it'll survive sales-wise until its exclusive content comes out. It'll be able to skate by just on the far superior, not superior, but far superior third-party games. If not, then you're just going to have a repeat of what happened last gen, I meant. You can't survive off of third parties alone, even though third parties is what people play the most. Remember, I used to make that argument all the time. I had the charts and the spreadsheets, and only 6% of the games that we pick up or 6% of the games that are sold are exclusives. I got all the charts. It didn't matter. The Xbox One X, the most powerful console, was the least selling one. It didn't matter. So, being that Sony has a $400 version of the PlayStation 5, same specs as the $500 version, it's just all digital. You get all that for $400. I think that's going to speak wonders in the long term. Again, if Sony can successfully usher in an era where their third-party games don't look too far behind the Xbox Series X, that's going to be phenomenal. Because here you got the cheaper version, you got the PlayStation 5 digital, that even though it's $100 more than the surplus Xbox, which is the S, there were things that it can do that the S just does not have the capabilities of doing. Prime example, one of the biggest experiences at launch because of the lack of exclusive content across the board, but more notably on the Xbox, is the Beyond Light DLC for Destiny. You can get the 120 frames per second mode for the PlayStation 5. You can get the 120 frames per second mode for the Series X. You do not get that mode with the Series S. And competitive multiplayer, being stuck at 60 when your competition is at 120 frames, is a big difference. Anybody can tell you that. So, I don't know. You guys just have to really look at everything from 5,000 feet. Look at the totality of this. And do what I see the Stadia community doing now with 60 frames per second on Stadia with Ubisoft. Like, put their feet to the fire. Demand better. Don't just settle for this because you want to make your piece of plastic look better than a piece of plastic across the street, so you don't want to say anything bad about it in the public. Do what you got to do. Demand better. So, with that said, that's it from your boy M2K. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Lyrics to go. We do this Monday through Friday. PNTS Network, Patreon. Thank you for your support. And again, if you like this, please share this out because someone else will likely like it as well. And with that said, until next time, you have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.